data set that came out of the data collector, not the GPS unit. By the way, I have overlaid these two data sets together, and the GPS and this have about a 2-foot bust on them in the horizontal, but it's got about a 30-foot bust in the vertical. Okay. So we're not using the GPS data. We're using the stuff off the data collector. Okay. Now there might be something I'm missing on the TopCon software. Okay. That's way out what it should be, but this is my first experience with TopCon was last year. I've always used Leica or Geodometer software before. So I might be missing a step in there, but I will figure that out. But it doesn't matter. That's why we did both data sets. We know the stuff at the total station is right. Okay. So in essence, what you want to do, here's what you're going to see on the screen when you pop this into Foresight. Okay. You're going to see a point, and with it you're going to see some information. This is the point number. Okay. So that's what's going to see, and then you're going to see the elevation, and then you're going to see that descriptor you typed in. Now, many of these descriptors were wrong, okay, and I think we took notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we had one that was a shot, that was a tree behind another tree.
12 feet from
Where was
the-
that set of notes that we kept at the data collector?
Here. Right here.
Okay, Becca, get with me. We need to make copies of all of that and distribute it to everybody in the group.
Okay.
Okay? So maybe if you'll get me squared away on what you've got, then
Okay.
I'll go do the copies and get that to everybody.
Okay.
Okay, so the thing you're gonna, as you come through, you need that also because as you look at the descriptors, like here's point 1, it's labeled start. This is where the instrument was set up. Okay? That's where that data collector is, and some of you are standing on a box to look through it, some of you weren't. That's where it was. Okay? So all the points are in relationship to that. Now, if I look at this entire data set, and let me just draw a quick line here. So I'm going to draw this as it comes into the computer, and I'm drawing it straight up. This is where we looked at the telephone pole. Remember, we told it due north was the telephone pole? Okay, well, that's not really due north, but for your data set, it is. Okay, so you can orient yourself looking at this straight up due north. Okay. For our data set. Now, the thing you kind of want to, we're going to have to analyze, and here's a good point of it. And I've got on the screen up here points 49, 50, and 51. Okay, notice that these are all labeled T, T, T. Those aren't T's. Those were all fences.
Yeah.
Now, was a communication error. I know that, Majed, you took those shots, right?
Yeah, and we wrote it down because we did 52. Oh, yeah. Because 53 was a topo, 52 was a fence, and then 4 shots back were actually fences.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. And so what we'll do is we're going to have to go in and change these. And all we got to do is change the descriptor. I'll show you how to edit that. So we know this is actually a property line. Okay. And so we're going to have to kind of look through this data set and compare it with our notes on what's going on. Because in here, let me come in and let me do a regen here so we can see the points. Like here, I've got a whole mess of shots. Well, this is a TR for a tree. Here's an asphalt shot. And the points that go with it. Now I've got another asphalt over here. I've got a topo, tree, and you'll want to use a little bit of Google Earth to make sure. The thing I want to point out is here's a tree that's a different descriptor. That's TREE instead of TR. Now certainly I expected this. We had multiple people typing the first time you had seen it. We hadn't developed a standard. When you work for a company, they'll have all this laid out. Say, you will always use this for this. You know, much like us, we always use an object line to represent an edge you can see. Okay. So all those standards, but you're going to have to kind of pay attention. And we'll back it up with the notes that were taken on the data collector. Okay. So this is how you're going to identify them. Now I think on one of these trees, by the way, also, we had one hidden from view. So we took another one and I thought we put like TR hid.
yep. We did.
And I see a H right here.
HTR, yeah.
That's HTR.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that shot means there, and then I think the other tree was 12 feet back
Yes.
in line with that. So you're gonna have to define that, and that's all in the notes, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that's one of our data sets. Now, the rest of these T's out through the middle, we don't have to worry about. You come into this little mess.
You said take lots.
Now, in CAD, I can't really adjust this. This will look much better in Foresight, the program you're gonna use. So we won't bring all these points from CAD. We're gonna bring shapes. Okay? But like here is concrete box. That's that little sub device that we have to do. So you'll find 4 points in here in roughly a rectangle. We'll be able to draw using a node snap on all of those. When we come into, so here's your underground pipe, irrigation PVC. Here's the pump house information. And you do have some property lines in there, like this one right here is PL, that's that corner spot.
So that's 60, yeah.
So you'll have all this information for you. Here's the pump, right here. Okay. Notice that on that pump, hey, there's a little point right there. I can draw a little circle and know right where that thing's at. Okay. As you go through your data set, please, anytime you change a point, write it down. Write it down. Okay. I changed point 50 to fence, or PL. Write it down. Okay. Folks, you need to take good notes on this. I've downloaded both sets and I've got them stored in separate places, 2 different places, one on each machine and one back there, and actually another one on my flash. So I've got the data set. If you accidentally make a mistake and delete it all, you're backed up. So don't worry about it too much. You're going to kind of be struggling a little bit on just how to use the software. Alrighty? So I want to just bring that up. Here's what you're going to see. We need to make adjustments to the data set. Remember back when you did your contour lines for the sewer line? Did any of you notice when you did your topo lines? I know 2 people did. Did you notice that there was a mistake in all that data? Did you or didn't you? Ask yourself that. Because if you would have done that topo map with the information I gave you, you would have had a 10-foot cliff in there somewhere.
It goes down bottom.
If you just glossed over it, you never picked up the error. This is this is kind of bringing it out right in your face that, hey, this stuff, they're humans doing this stuff, right? It will not be perfect. So we document, we document, we document so that we do get it as right as possible at the end. I think I had 2 people ask me about the mistake. Declan, you were one of them, I believe, on that Twin Oaks sewer.
And then you gave us a point at.
What was the mistake? Missy?
It was 1900.
Yeah, there was one elevation point in there that was labeled 19. That was 10 feet out.
I just adjusted it. I figured, oh, that was a mistake.
No, no. We ask our surveyors. We don't just change stuff arbitrarily.
Sure, I got this.
You have that thing where
That's
you.
what I did. I saw it. I was like, just ask them.
You folks, if you do that in the workplace, you're going to get burned.
You made the correction up here.
No,
Didn't you? Or
No.
you told me then? Okay.
no,
No.
I didn't.
Somebody
No,
told me.
we need to be, before we make changes, we need to clarify that. Remember, we're entry-level drafters. Okay? Until we get much more experience and we see a recurring, as an experienced guy, I would have saw that data set, I'd be calling my survey crew. And say, you know, this isn't right. I challenge this. And I'd probably drive to the site before I called them, you know, and say, maybe it's there. And I can answer the question myself. But, you know, I'm not just arbitrarily changing something.
Well, I just thought, since sometimes they write them and they drop off the first couple of numbers, I mean, so that's a That's a thing they do, that's just what kind of clicked in my mind.
Wasn't there
Yeah.
another?
So there's another one.
And they gave us station 93695. I wasn't sure what to do with that one.
It's a topo line, right? You just plot it.
Just for,
It's for the topo lines, not for the sewer line. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to get all the data sets downloaded. Okay. So Sean, I understand you were trained on the HP data collector? Okay, so if you would, you need to then get somebody else, download them into their folder, show them how to do it, let them push the buttons. Then once that person finishes, then they turn around, they grab somebody else who hasn't done it, and you let them push the buttons, but you're task train them on that. Okay. So in essence, we're doing a little task training peer-to-peer here. Okay. If you have questions, maybe go to the person before you, see if you missed a step, because certainly, you know, first time being exposed to it, yeah, maybe you do. Ultimately, if everybody's confused, get me involved. Okay. All right. I will have this machine up and going in just a couple minutes. This one, by the way, if you downloaded either of you into that far one, that's where this came from.
so this